Welcome to another episode of Perspectives. I'm Lin Wang, a member of Democratic Socialists of America and the No Cold War Collective. Today, I'm with Carlos Ron, former Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs for Venezuela, and today, coordinator for Tricontinental Institute. We'll just get right into it then. Carlos, since August, the Trump administration has been sending military vessels to Venezuelan waters and engaging in other escalatory actions against Venezuela. Can you give our audience a rundown of the aggressive actions the U.S. has taken against Venezuela recently?
Sure, well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. Like you said, since August, there has been a massive military buildup in the Caribbean Sea by the United Nations. Sorry, the United States. The Southern Command and other military units have displayed what, according to different outlets, like amounts to at least seven naval warships, a nuclear submarine, between 4 to 6,500 Marines, a squadron of F-35 planes and other spy planes. So this is a massive operation of military units to the Caribbean Sea, under the justification that this is some sort of operation to fight drug trafficking that is supposed to be going from Venezuela to the United States. The main problem with this justification, of course, is that it's flawed. I mean, any international reports that you can look at on drugs and drug trafficking by the United Nations or other international institutions, but even by the DEA in the United States, clearly state that only about 5% of drugs pass through the Caribbean Sea towards the United States, when actually 87% of drug trafficking doesn't even take place in this ocean, but rather in the Pacific Ocean, to which Venezuela has no coast. So it calls to everyone's attention, what the real purposes are to carry out this operation. Now, from September until now, at least four that we have known of. I mean, at least four strikes have taken place. One on September 2nd, according to President Trump, who played a video in his social media. There was a boat that was that he claims was containing drugs and was shot at, and about 11 members of what he alleges is the Tren de Aragua, which is used to be a Venezuelan gang. Was and was this, and it has been decided as by the U.S. as a terrorist organization. Well, he alleges that these people were in this boat, and 11 of them were killed, pulverized, according to the video. Then two other strikes have taken place, or three other strikes have taken place after that. One on September 15th. Again, all these are small boats. And so overall, you come to question several things. First, how are they getting this information? I mean, who can verify that these boats are actually carrying drugs and these are actually drug traffickers? Because all that we have seen, all that the public has seen, is just images of a boat at sea and then just a fire raining upon these people. Now, there has been no seizure, no procedure that usually takes place in these kind of operations, where you stop the ship, you look at the contents, you interrogate the people bringing over the ship and so forth. None of this has taken place. All we see is boats in the water and fire raining upon them, which comes into question, the legality of this according to international law, but also if this is truly a drug operation, as President Trump has claimed.
Thank you. And can you provide context for why is the U.S. choosing to engage in these actions now? Does the geopolitical positioning of Venezuela under the Maduro administration play into the U.S.'s calculations here?
Well, you see, I mean, our understanding of this is that, since 1999, when President Hugo Chavez became elected as president of Venezuela, there has been an antagonism, a very important antagonism between the United States and the Bolivarian process here. I mean, the problem here in particular has been that the Venezuela, that a country that has the largest oil reserves in the world, has very significant gas and gold reserves as well, It's a country that has taken an independent foreign policy, an independent domestic policy as well, different from what the United States had usually believe was supposed to happen in Venezuela, or was according to the U.S. Recipe for the region. So during President Chavez, there was a lot of antagonism. There was a coup attempt in 2002 that it had the backing of the U.S. Then after President Chavez passed away, the sabotage against Venezuela became stronger, both in economic terms, but also after the Obama administration issued a declaration or um, executive order declaring Venezuela an unusual and extraordinary threat to the foreign policy and national security of the United States, then that allowed for U.S. unilateral sanctions to start taking place against Venezuela. All these actions that happened under the Obama administration, then the Trump administration, then Biden, and now Trump again, all these actions of sanctions and repeated attacks on the Venezuelan economy have taken place directly with the aim of producing regime change in Venezuela. Basically, there's an interest that there's another government here that there's a government that is not that is not independent, that is a government that follows more the lead of the United States, and that is the government that doesn't have independent relationships with other parts of the world, such as China, Russia, Iran, and other countries that have established in the last 25 years strong relations with Venezuela of common interest and of common development. We believe that this is really the purpose of these actions. This is to incite regime change, whether it be an actual incursion by the United States, or whether it be an attempt by Venezuelan defectors to try to overthrow the government. In all cases, it amounts to pressure on Venezuela in order to remove its president.
Thank you. 6.5 years ago, Venezuela defeated a regime change attempt by the U.S. with the now infamous Juan Guaido proclaiming himself president of Venezuela without popular backing. As the U.S. now appears to be gearing up for another regime change effort, how is Venezuela responding? And how are ordinary
Well,
Venezuelans viewing the U.S. aggression and attacks on civilian vessels?
Well, I think we have to understand first that Venezuela is a country that likes democracy. I mean, in the last year, we have had 7 elections, including the presidential election and other elections for local leaders. I mean, this is something that's not often discussed in the mainstream media or in the think tanks. But Venezuela is a country that is now ever more democratic, and there's more participatory decision making at the local level. Uh, so. So of course, Venezuelans believe that even those that oppose the current president, the current government, most believe that the problems amongst Venezuelans must be solved by Venezuelans, not by foreign intervention. And so these attempts by one small sector of the opposition to call on the U.S. to intervene, to put more sanctions on the country, to carry out these aggressions, well, is generally rejected by most Venezuelans. I mean, in recent weeks, we created there was a council, a national council for sovereignty and peace, and it's very interesting because it's made up by a whole group of different leaders in the nation, including businessmen, not only politicians, but athletes, artists, and I mean the cultural sector. And this is a broad group of people, including leaders of the opposition. I mean, opposition. There has been intervention by opposition parties, by opposition governors. All these people together say that they reject military aggression on Venezuela. I mean, whatever problems we have, whatever differences we have, we have to solve them here amongst ourselves. But nobody really wants the U.S. to intervene. And even some people in Venezuela have gone and enlisted themselves into the militia in a way of showing, a display of patriotism and national unity. I mean, if anybody comes and try to attack the country, attack the stability of the country, then people are going to react because obviously, would you want to defend your family, your homeland, your beliefs, etc.
Today, you are an Americas coordinator for the Tricontinental Institute. Can you tell us a little bit more about your work?
Well, the work at Tricontinental, I mean, it's a research institution, it's a social research institution, but we try to bridge what is academic production with political and social movements in order to like really promote critical thinking and stimulate debate and research with a perspective that's really the people's perspectives. In this work that we have done recently, we have worked on um, uh, books that are a series of books called Addicted to Imperialism, which talk precisely about the war on drugs and during the last 50 years and how this isn't really it hasn't achieved anything against drug trafficking in the United States, but rather it has been an excuse to intervene into different countries in the region in Latin America. We just did also a dossier this month on Mexico's fourth transformation. So it's a way of showing what the political process and popular process that has been taken on in Mexico, how this has been important for the region and for the Mexican people. And overall, of course, we've done a important work on hyper-imperialism, which is the way we currently define this stage of imperialism, which is now more military oriented, more aggressive than ever. It's a type of imperialism that we think is going to destroy the planet if there's nothing to stop it, and it is basically the U.S. hegemony that is going this with this extra impulse on war when it precisely sees itself as losing ground or losing hegemony to other countries such as China or Russia that are now increasing the participation in technological development and trying to create an alternative financial institutions within BRICS and so forth. For next year, it's the 60th anniversary of the Tricontinental Conference in Havana, where we get the inspiration for the name of our institute, and we'll be working on that as well. It's important for us to recover the history of the global South and to try to learn from that history and find ourselves a better future uh, built on that.
Thank you. One last question here. What can we in the US do in this moment to show solidarity with Venezuela against US bombing and regime change efforts?
Look, I think all Venezuelans have always believed that the United States, is a country that we have historical relationships with, that we have a fraternal relationship with the people of the United States. I think the most important thing is always to demand that Venezuela is left alone in the sense that no interventions are placed on Venezuela in order to alter our political regime or democracy. I think that is important, but also I think for the sake of humanity and for the sake of what's going on and the precedents that are being made, I think it's important that people raise their voices against these extrajudicial killings that are going on and that are very dangerous for what is international law and for its security in general. I mean, there's no evidence. No evidence has been presented. Nobody has been stopped. Nobody has been questioned. There's no way after you blow up a ship in the middle of the ocean that you can see what it was carrying. I mean, there's one of these boats that was carrying over 100, over 11 people or 17 people in one case, I believe as well. Um, you know, nobody really traffics drugs in with that number of people. So this ships might have been. It's very likely that there was something else. And besides, if these ships were actually, that actually came out of Venezuela, which is something that nobody has even proven yet. It could have been coming out from Colombia, it could have been from some other place in the Caribbean. But regardless of that, these ships probably wouldn't be able to reach U.S. shore. So I mean, just to think that these ships are the ones bringing drugs to the U.S. and that each ship represents, I don't know, the crazy numbers that are being given, like 25,000 deaths in the U.S. This really has to be looked on and analyze and really there must be some legal action against these killings because we don't know who these people are. We don't know how, and even if they were drug traffickers, I mean there has to be some due process. There has to be something legal done in order to stop these people, but not just outright murder in the middle of the ocean and the way it's being carried out. So I think it is the United States, since this is U.S. taxpayer money, since this is U.S. Troops putting their lives, at risk. Is probably that's probably where all the questions on these processes should be coming from.
Thank you for your insight, Carlos. And that concludes this interview. Please like, follow, and subscribe No Cold War Perspectives for more content.
Thank you very much.